Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar on teaching in a blended environment. We're so excited to have you join us. A couple things to note before we get going here. The Zoom Q&A box is open for any questions you may have. We will be answering them in this box throughout the webinar, so if you do have a question, this is the best place to put it to ensure that it gets answered. And we will also turn the chat function on as well. A recording of this session will be added to our YouTube playlist. In a follow-up email, the link to the playlist will be sent, along with the slide deck that I'm presenting, and also a document with answers to any questions that we receive. So let's get started with today's agenda. We'll start with some quick introductions, and from there we'll discuss the significance of blended learning, and then we'll have a demonstration within the platform. And to finish off, if timing all goes to plan, we'll have some more time for some question and answer, and I will just show you in the slideshow where we'll have some resources for you, and again, in the document that will be shared to you in an email. A little bit about us. My name is Heather, and I am a customer enablement specialist here at D2L. And I also have my colleague Victoria here with me today, who will be answering any questions you may have. Victoria and I both taught in classrooms prior to joining D2L, and we love to support educators in using Brightspace. And before we get too far here, I would like to take a moment to clarify some terms. So D2L is the company Victoria and I work for. Brightspace is the product we make, a learning management system. And depending on where you work, your district may call Brightspace something like eClass, iLearn NYC, or the VLE. And although some of your districts have different names for the learning management system, they do all refer to Brightspace. And in addition, our Brightspace community is a hub of resources where you can connect with other Brightspace users and seek out additional information on Brightspace. And there is a link in the chat to Brightspace community for you to sign in or to join Brightspace community if you have not done so yet. As we dive into today's topic of teaching in a blended environment, I want to start by sharing a quote that really captures the essence of what we'll explore. Technology will not replace great teachers, but technology in the hands of great teachers can be transformational. This quote is so powerful because it reminds us that while technology offers incredible tools and possibilities, it's still your skills, creativity, and passion as educators that truly drive student success. So in a blended environment, technology is not the star of the show. It's just a tool that amplifies your ability to engage, support, and inspire your students. And when this is used intentionally and thoughtfully, it opens new opportunities for learning that go beyond the classroom walls. So today, we'll be exploring ways we can leverage the technology in Brightspace in meaningful ways to enhance learning and make it more accessible, personalized, and engaging for all students. So we like to think of tech-enhanced learning and blended learning as one and the same. And though many terms are often used to describe the combination of face-to-face instruction with digital components, at its core, tech-enhanced learning is about integrating digital tools into traditional classrooms to support and enrich teaching rather than replace it. So these tools are meant to complement instruction by extending learning beyond the classroom and providing students with more opportunities to engage with content. So the technology allows educators to personalize learning paths, differentiate instruction, so that students can progress at their own pace. And over time, this approach fosters a gradual release of responsibility. So as learners gain confidence, independence, and ownership of their learning through exploration, experimentation, and the use of these digital resources. So now let's talk about why Brightspace is such a powerful tool for blended learning and how we can use it effectively. So firstly, Brightspace offers a centralized platform for resources, communication, and assessment. Secondly, blended environments thrive when students can actively engage with their peers and instructors both inside and outside the classroom. So, tools such as online discussion forums, group assignments, and collaborative spaces encourage ongoing dialogue that builds on in person learning. This combination of face to face and online interaction not only deepens understanding of content, but it really fosters a strong sense of community and belonging within the class or course. And lastly, Brightspace allows us to personalize and differentiate learning experiences. With its range of tools, we can tailor lessons, assignments, and assessments to meet the diverse needs of our students. So firstly here, we're going to look at Brightspace and how it serves as that centralized platform. So in Brightspace, all course materials are organized into modules or units, making it easy for students to find what they need and revisit that content anytime within the classroom or outside. Assignments provide a single space for submission, feedback, and grading, helping you as an educator keep everything consistent and clear. And finally, grades and rubrics support both formative and summative evaluation, giving students transparent expectations and meaningful feedback, all while saving you time. With Brightspace, you can create differentiated learning paths that adapt to each student's needs. Using release conditions, you can automate when and how students access certain content or activities, ensuring they get the right resources at the right time. Another key tool here is Portfolio. Portfolio helps students build skills in self-reflection and self-assessment. It's designed to be age appropriate, giving younger learners simple ways to capture their work, while older learners can go deeper into documenting their growth. This means students think about their own learning, set goals, and recognize progress. Over time, Portfolio becomes a secure, personalized, and student-led record of achievement. Brightspace also makes it easy to create a dynamic virtual classroom where communication and collaboration thrive. Educators can share classroom announcements, post news and reminders through the activity feed, and keep everyone organized with calendar items. And you can also include your contact information so students and families know how to reach you. And finally, discussion forums give students space to collaborate, work in groups, and provide peer feedback, building a more interactive and engaging learning environment. So what I'm going to do here now is pop into Brightspace, and I'm going to show you the tools that I'm going to talk about within Brightspace within the Edit Content tool. So as you can see here on my screen, I am in edit mode within content, and I'm just going to expand this here. And I have my PowerPoint presentation that I was just presenting to you. And so I am going to let you know I'm going to be presenting content, which we're in right now, activity feed, release conditions, portfolio, and our most highly requested by that's product idea exchange item, and that is print quiz. So what I am demonstrating right here is a way that we could use the content space within a classroom environment to present content that you've built in Brightspace. So you could go through a slideshow here, or you could play a YouTube video, which you can insert through insert stuff, just like this. And so I want you to imagine that this could be up on a smart board, a large display, and you're going through a presentation and you could take down thoughts from your class right here live. So what do you already know about tools? I know about grades. I want to learn about rubrics. And so this is something that you could record and it can act as a digital chart paper for you within Brightspace. And the best part about this is that we can save and close, and then it is available for your students to come back to during their learning at another time. So it's all recorded in here for you, essentially as chart paper. A few other things I want to point out here to you in the content space is that it can house modules of your classroom rules, of school resources, and you could also set up a hidden folder here that just acts as almost your teaching binder. And so this could be a digital space for you to really amplify your teaching. And it's just a way to use the technology of Brightspace to enhance that in-person learning and also your own materials. So now that we've had an overview and seen the content space here, I'm going to jump over to another course and I'm going to show you Activity Feed. And just to note here, your course homepage may look different depending on how you or your organization have it set up. So just the widgets that you have might be different than what I am displaying here. So I really like to think of my activity feed as the spot for my classroom news and updates. An activity feed allows you to have streamlined updates that reach learners and also flow into Brightspace for Parents and Guardians tool, giving families a window into the classroom. So we are going to create a post here in a message. And so I have that in here now. And one of my favorite things about Activity Feed is that I'm able to direct students exactly where I want them to go by linking them to items in the course without making them dig around. So this is really helpful to keep things clear and put learners at ease. So I'm going to highlight this and click here to add a link. And you can see here that there are many things that I can link my students to, but for this particular post in Activity Feed, I'm going to choose a spot in content and put it there so that my students can click on this right here and it will take them to that. I can also allow my students to post comments on this. So if you want some dialogue there, you can keep comments on by checking this box. Something to note is that parents and guardians will not see any student comments. And also I can choose to post this at a later date. So we have heard from educators that they like to set up a few posts at a time and schedule them for the week or for the month. And so once I post this here, what I can do is I can pin this post to the top if I want. And so let's say you have a reminder about a field trip form that needs to be returned. You may want to pin this to the top for a couple of weeks so that students and parents have that consistent reminder. And then any subsequent posts that you make would show up below that. And if you are using Activity Feed as an engagement tool for students to comment on, you may want to turn on your email notifications to manage this and to help keep the conversation going. So you can do that by clicking up in your profile name and notifications, and then here with the Activity Feed and check off that email box there. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to head back into our content space to talk about release conditions. So these can be used to create personalized learning paths for students as it can release announcements, assignments, content, quizzes, and more. So with this symbol right here, you can see that there is a release condition that has been added to Unit 1. So I am going to view this release condition. So this unit will only show up if a student has started a thread in the Introduce Yourself discussion. So when a certain requirement have been met, it allows students to work through the course at a pace that is right for them. But let's set up another release condition here in Unit 1B. So what we're going to do is head up to the ellipses and view release conditions, and we are going to create. And for this one, we're going to create it on an assignment. So they must submit to a folder here. Press create. So this setup is especially useful in a blended learning environment where students often progress at different speeds. Some learners may be ready to move ahead quickly, while others need more time to review or work on things. So release conditions help you accommodate both. And you can also tie release conditions to a quiz score. So I will scroll down here, score on a quiz, and then we will select a quiz. And so you can choose this criteria here, but you could have some review materials that are in a certain module that essentially get released if a student scores a certain score on a quiz. While you could also have another folder of extension activities for students that achieve 100%, and this could really deepen their learning. So when we have these release conditions, you are creating personalized learning paths that give students the right content at the right time and empowering them to move forward at their own pace and according to their own understanding. Next, I am going to head into the portfolio tool. And we are going to take a look at Frank's portfolio here. And Frank has two pieces of evidence. So we're going to jump into the electromagnetism. And so Frank has documented a photo of this particular lab and has also submitted an audio reflection that goes along with the artifact. As I scroll down here, I want to point out that you as an educator could also capture some reflection on Frank's behalf. Say you were having a conversation with them that could go in here in the type A reflection. At the bottom here, we can also categorize pieces of evidence. So these can be set up at both the school level and at the class level. And being able to categorize these portfolio items is a great feature because then I can pull all of the pieces of evidence that are under that category later. So I have a class category set up here of science lab that I am going to add this to. And you can see here that Frank also has the ability to add categories to this piece of evidence as well. And now I'm just going to scroll back to the top of the screen and go along the right side here, which is where I can review and assess. So I can provide feedback to the evidence through a written comment, which is already done here, but I can type in here. You can also add rubrics to a student's evidence to make it visible to them. So you can evaluate against the rubric, which is then auto-saved and published. And students and parents, if it's shared with parents, can view your feedback, including the criteria, level of achievement, and feedback associated to the specific criteria. And also, if you have outcomes from the Achievement Standards Network that are mapped to the class, you can then map the learning outcomes you've added to specific Brightspace portfolio pieces of evidence. So this allows you to better communicate to parents and guardians and students on how the evidence supports learning. Another feature that I want to bring your attention to is this private notes section. So you may want to make a comment that Frank or parents and guardians can't see. And as we click in the text box here, You can see that I can turn this on to be visible so that other colleagues would be able to see the note. And this could be very beneficial for younger years as there is sometimes that team teaching environment. But this setting is defaulted to not visible to other colleagues. And last but certainly not least, at the bottom here is the Share with Guardians feature. So this provides parents and guardians with a window into the classroom. So when they can see these pieces of evidence, they know what's happening there in the environment. So turning this on shares it with parents and guardians in that tool. And so now I am going to head back to Frank's portfolio. And if we have shared something with parents and guardians, we can also spotlight this, and then that piece of evidence would go to the top of the portfolio for parents and guardians. And if this is not done, then the evidence will show just in chronological order of when it is submitted. And next up, I want to talk to you about our most requested pie item that is now in Brightspace. And I am going to navigate to quizzes through my course admin because I don't have it in my nav bar. And here we are where you'll see a list of all of the quizzes that have been created in this course. So we can use this drop-down menu next to the quiz title and select print. So from this preview, you are going to see the option down at the bottom left corner to print. Now, I want to bring your attention here along the right-hand side where you can select the number of versions that we want for a quiz. So if you have a question pool set up in a quiz, then it will pull questions from there and make different versions. For this particular quiz, I do not have question pool set up, but I do have shuffle questions on. So when I make different versions, you can see here that I have two different versions. And so then my questions are in a different order there. You can also choose what kind of formatting you want to be on the paper version. So you can have this quiz description like I have, you can have a name field, and then you can select student ID and date field as well. And also what I want to show you is that you can print off an answer key. So if I click show correct answers, it will give me an answer key here. So I could have the paper copies beside each other. But I do want to let you know that for the time being, these documents all needed to be printed individually. So once you've printed your quizzes, my recommendation would then be to check that box for the answer key and then print those off. And now what I want to do is just head back into my quizzes and just show you here where I enabled the shuffle questions. So this is under the timing and display, and you can shuffle the quiz questions here. Best practice for using the print quiz feature is to set it up the way you would want it to be in an online format with question pools, shuffle questions, and with randomized answer order so that print quiz can create those multiple versions for you. And so that's it. Printing a quiz is quick and it really gives you that flexibility, whether you need a hard copy for a student for accommodations, or you want an answer key for yourself, or if you prefer to review on paper. This feature really makes it easy to work with quizzes outside of Brightspace in a blended environment. I'm just going to pop through some slides here. And while we go through the last few slides here, I would love if you could take a few moments to fill out our survey. We love to get your feedback, and these results help us improve our offerings and make sure we are delivering what it is that you want to see. So there is a QR code here on the screen for you that you can scan if you have your phone with you, or the link is also in the chat. And I want to thank you in advance for taking the time to do that. And I also want to point out on this slide that we have two links that will direct you to Brightspace Community, where you can learn more about our approach to product feedback and learn more about participating in user experience research. We also invite you to join the D2L Champions program. Being a champion gives you the opportunity to receive points for attending webinars, submitting blog posts, and even giving us reviews online. You can then redeem these points for gift cards and additional D2L services. And if you are looking for more information on the D2L Champions program, the link is in the chat for you. We have some upcoming sessions that we want to share. Here's a look at the topics we have planned through February, and we'll put another link in the chat there for you to check out the registration. And additionally, I want to let you know about some webinars that our training team hosts, as they do 2 monthly sessions for all Brightspace users. The first one is a Q&A drop-in session where you can get your Brightspace questions answered in real time. And the second one is focused on what's new in Brightspace, which uses our monthly release notes. So these sessions give you free access to our D2L training team in a way that you might not get otherwise. So be sure to check them out if you are available, and a link to that will be in the chat as well. And very briefly, I wanted to show you these 2 slides that are in the presentation that include D2L resources. So these are all hyperlinked for you and will be in the document that we send out afterwards. So keep an eye out for those slides if you want additional resources. Thank you, and that we appreciate your time, and we really hope to see you next month at our next session.